The 2023 Baltimore Ravens are Super Bowl underdogs. If any underdog was to pull off a Super Bowl win, it would be this Ravens team with their top 5 offense, top 3 defense, and elite level coaching staff. It will all come down to if Baltimore can remain healthy. I'm Chase Keller, and tune into this dive of the Baltimore Ravens, why I believe they will finish 13-4, and how they came up in 3rd in my 2023 NFL Power Rankings. The Ravens offense has immensely struggled to stay healthy the last couple of seasons, but I must say, when at full force, this offense is absolutely lethal. There's really one true hole on this side of the ball, and it's clear that Baltimore is attempting to improve it. So, let's start by discussing this top-tier offense. I'm starting to feel that Lamar Jackson is becoming underrated. Sure, injuries have gotten in the way over the last 2 seasons, but when he plays, he's a top-tier passer and rusher. We all forget that Lamar is not too far shy of his MVP season, and since that season, he's had one healthy year. If Lamar stays healthy for 2023, I believe he has a genuine shot to win MVP. Let me explain. As a passer, Lamar is efficient but not particularly productive. Before injury in 2022, he went for a career low in yards per attempt, along with 17 touchdowns in 12 games. I'm sure that a very lackluster receiving core was a massive contributor to that, but 17 touchdowns is still concerning. A positive to that, though, is that he threw only 7 interceptions with a turnover-worthy play percentage of only 2.3%. That percentage was the 6th best of 33 quarterbacks with 250 or more dropbacks. As a runner, Lamar is number 2 at the QB position, only behind the rising Justin Fields. To me, he has been underutilized as a runner ever since his MVP season, which showcased 9 rushes per game. Over the last 3 seasons, he has averaged only 7 rushes per game. It's not like the NFL has figured him out in this aspect either. Lamar has elite vision in the open field, along with elusiveness and good deception. Sure, there is an injury concern with him running the football, but the last 2 seasons, his injury has come through dropbacks and not scrambles. So, combining his rushing and passing abilities, I believe Lamar is still the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. The running back room here has some of the NFL's best depth, given that all 3 running backs are starting caliber players. The problem is that only one of them is a good starting option, and it's nothing better than that. J.K. Dobbins is a guy I feel can break out in 2023, but I'm sure you've heard that from everyone. He's an underrated runner, don't get me wrong, but it's hard to trust him dealing with injuries as a running back. It's kind of the same as Lamar Jackson, as when Dobbins is healthy, he can be lethal. Dobbins is good all around, with 6 yards per carry, a good missed tackle rate, and overall some fantastic vision in the open field. If Dobbins does happen to go down again, I actually believe that Gus Edwards is a better option. Edwards is the reason that JK doesn't have a breakout grade, as Gus Bus has been even more efficient when given the opportunity. Not only is he consistently averaging 5 yards per carry, he's also great at breaking tackles and steaming through defenders in the red zone. 2021 was a big testament to this, as his combination of anything made him almost the most efficient running back in the league that year. Melvin Gordon is still a manageable starter at RB3, but I don't think this lasts for much longer. Now, this is that hole I was discussing earlier. This room has clearly improved from last year, with the top 3 either being new to the roster or returning from injury. The wide receiver 5 is also new, and while this group still sits at under average, at least they're making clear improvements. New wide receiver 1, Odell Beckham Jr., has taken steps backwards since leaving New York, but that can't discredit that he's still a good starter. Sure, he hasn't played since 2021, but he's worked as a great medium route target with his good route running and open field ability. For the rest of the guys, Zay Flowers comes in at the team's wide receiver 2. I've already discussed Flowers, so draft season CKJ, take it away. Zay Flowers is the best route runner in this class. I said it. He's got some of the best elusiveness in this class, especially from north to south. His comeback routes are some of the cleanest routes that I have ever watched in the prospect. He worked hard to get open in the short game, primarily due to his frame, but he has a lot of talent getting separation at every level. Because of his size, he has a small catch radius, which will be prevented by a great quarterback. Especially if he's used in the screen and deep game, it won't matter as much. The depth in this wide receiver group is pretty key to its success in 2023. Rashad Bateman's second season was a little disappointing given that he caught 15 passes in 6 games. He's shown flashes as a contested catcher, which is good for the red zone, but he hasn't really shown anything else. In contrast, Devin Duvernay showed vast improvements in 2022, showing off his deep speed and athleticism to be great in the deep game. As for Nelson Agholor, I like the signing as a rotational/injury support wide receiver. How about this tight end group? It sits in the elite tier with one of the best tight ends, adds some great depth following. Mark Andrews is simply enough a top 4 tight end in the NFL. He did take a step back in 2022, but it's hard to follow a near 1,400-yard season with something even bigger. Andrews is just your reliable receiver that is always finding ways to get open. Whether it's through great route running or his elite spatial awareness, Mark Andrews is there. These depth pieces are more intriguing, being that they're both second-year, fourth-round selections. I do like Isaiah Likely more, given that he actually played in 2022, but he showed elite upside as a receiver with his top-notch athleticism and shiftiness for the position. While Charlie Kolar didn't play a lot in 2022, he does remind me a lot of Mark Andrews with his skill set, so he should be someone to watch for this year. Going into this average offensive line, it definitely has the upside to be something good. That's because of the man in the middle. Tyler Linderbaum has the upside to be the NFL's best center. I was hoping he'd be better for 2022, but a 4 overall increase is good enough. Linderbaum did struggle as a pass blocker, allowing 26 pressures, which was 4th most for a center in 2022. He was a very dominant run blocker nonetheless, and his combination of athleticism and play strength gives him a big enough case to be the NFL's best center in a couple of years. For that reason, Tyler Linderbaum deserves breakout grade number 1 on this roster. There's one more remaining here, so keep watching. Moving back out to the left, Ronnie Stanley is a guy who hasn't shown out since 2019. Since that amazing season, he's strictly been a pass blocker. He's a liability in the run game, and in a common run-first offense, that's not gonna fly. On the right side, Morgan Moses collects the same rating as Stanley. Moses is a much better combo blocker, but I will admit, his pass blocking does not touch the same level as Stanley. The inside of the line is kind of a hole when you take it in the grand scheme. Ben Cleveland is a 64 overall, and he's played just 400 snaps throughout the last 2 seasons. Losing Ben Powers was a big deal for this offensive line, but maybe Ben Cleveland will prove himself. As for right guard Kevin Zeitler, he may still be good, and he still may be starting caliber, but he's now 33 going on 34. He may regress starting soon. The offensive coaching here has greatly changed. Out with Greg Roman and in with Todd Monken. Obviously, Harbaugh is going to have a say in the offense, but the main play caller will be the man who just came from Georgia. Monken has overseen so many different kinds of offenses, and from what we've seen so far, it looks like Monken could play sort of a supervisor role just like Harbaugh, and he will be flexible enough to allow Lamar Jackson to have a big say in the offense. Only time will tell if this is a good idea. To summarize, the Ravens offense absolutely needs to stay healthy for success. If they do stay healthy, expect this offense to be near the top of the league in 2023. About a month ago, I had the Baltimore Ravens defense ranked as the 12th best in the league. Over this time, Baltimore has added Jadeveon Clowney, Ronald Darby, Arthur Maulet, and DeAndre Houston Carson, all signings that have helped this group elevate to number 3. They still have a lot of talent around this defense outside of those guys, so let's talk about it. The signing of Jadeveon Clowney has elevated this edge group from bad to average, a big step forward for the most important positional group. While I do agree that this is a terrible move for the long term, these power rankings are for this season, meaning that this defense heavily improves. I thought Clowney was a lost cause up until joining Cleveland, where he was efficient everywhere, especially in the pass rush, putting together 1 pressure every 8.9 pass rush snaps and 1 sack every 51.9 pass rush snaps. By joining Baltimore, Clowney finally gets an opportunity to be the number 1 edge on a team, something he hasn't had in a while. What Clowney's signing negatively does is slow down the development of Odafe Owe. Owe is a promising, consistent defender with good ability in both pass and run. The production has not been great, but as only a third-year player and a former top prospect, I wanted to see more from him. Instead, we must wait until he either develops with Clowney or gets his own shot as the number one edge rusher on a team. It also heavily impacts the potential of David Ojabo. I wasn't a fan of the draft pickup as I did have a late third round grade on him, but he's still filled with potential as well. This all goes without mentioning that Tyus Bowser will rotate in and out as a good pass rusher and nothing much more. He's a low ceiling guy, and now that he's back in a rotational role more than just a starting role, his overall will suffer again. Let's discuss this under average defensive line. I like the potential all around here, but once again, health is going to be a massive factor. Beginning with Michael Pierce, he is definitely elite when healthy. I mean, the last 2 seasons he has put together fantastic efficiency with 1 stop every 24.4 snaps and 1 pressure every 9 pass rush snaps. But he's only played in 342 snaps and 11 games the last 2 years. If Pierce can stay healthy, he's going to be elite on the inside. If he can't stay healthy, he's going to leave this not so great depth to develop themselves. Justin Madubuike is a guy I really liked as a prospect, but he's gone down 2 overall points in his 3 seasons as a Baltimore Raven. Madubuike is a consistent defender, but he's really struggled to be great. His play strength has taken steps backwards, and he needs that developer to help out. So that's why I'm saying, with the assumption that Michael Pierce finally stays healthy, Justin Madubuike gets the second breakout grade on this roster. As for the rest of the guys, Travis Jones is going into his 2nd season, Broderick Washington his 4th, and Urban is a falling veteran. So a big developing piece, which is when Pierce stays healthy, is needed for the success of this interior D-line. Onto the linebacker core, you may be wondering how this defense ranks 3rd with just average and under average up to this point. And I say, just wait until the secondary. Roquan Smith is a tiny bit overrated, being the 8th best linebacker in my rankings, but I still believe he is a star player. He's a stout run defender with nice lateral ability and great tackling ability. I don't like Smith in coverage, but I like him everywhere else. He's entering his first full season with Baltimore, so maybe that's what he will improve on this year. Trenton Simpson was my favorite linebacker in this recent draft, and his upside is going to be something to watch for. He's extremely athletic with nice coverage yet okay instincts. He's athletic enough where the Ravens can move him to many different places, including safety and even edge rusher. Patrick Queen is a guy I personally don't like. He's good in coverage and that's about it. He is disappointed outside of last season, and now he's entering a prove it or lose it year. Queen's size was a concern coming in, and it's still a concern now given that he's a very sluggish tackler. Here's where this defense gets good. The cornerback room may have lost Marcus Peters, the NFL's 7th best, but by bringing in 2 very solid free agency pickups, this group stays in the elite tier. Marlon Humphrey is a dog. I was not a fan of his 2021 season, and I thought maybe it was time for his decline, but 2022 retained my thoughts on him being a superstar cornerback. Humphrey is an amazing tackler and is great at reducing the yards after the catch. He does allow too many big plays, but his amazing production makes up for it. In fact, 2022 was Humphrey's best year in passer rating, allowing a 71.7 rating in the air. The first of 2 pickups here is Rock Ya-Sin, a guy who has gradually developed into a starting caliber player. He hasn't been too flashy, only gaining 7 points in 4 seasons, but he's still a manageable starter with some nice deep coverage. The second came in very recently with Ronald Darby, another guy who is pretty damn good when healthy. In Darby's last fully healthy year, he allowed 54.3% of targets to be caught with 15 pass breakups, a number that led the NFL. This season was back in 2020. Does Darby still have it in him? Also, I want to point out that Q-Blue Kelly was a draft selection I really liked out of Baltimore, and in the preseason, he's proven me right so far. The safety group is another elite group to round out this number 3 ranked defense. With the perfect combination of guys who have proven and guys who have much left to prove, this group is great. Williams is the proven guy, being a superstar up to this point. In Williams' first season with Baltimore, he didn't play like a superstar, but he was good everywhere, especially in run defense. Williams put together a phenomenal 3.3% missed tackle rate, forcing both runners and receivers towards the outside to avoid him. In coverage, he allowed 0 touchdowns with 4 interceptions and 3 pass breakups. Very impressive numbers out of Williams. The time to prove it guy is second-year player Kyle Hamilton. He played nearly all of his late snaps at cornerback last year, but as a box safety, he is one hell of a run defender with decent coverage abilities. Not having great coverage is going to hold back his upside, but hey, isn't that what this year is for? Geno Stone is another prove-it guy, as with the loss of Chuck Clark in free agency, he has the opportunity to step up and prove his reliability as a rotational safety. Expect very solid coverage out of him in 2023. The defensive coaching here is something that I really like. Once again, overlooked by Harbaugh, Mike Macdonald is an elite defensive coordinator. Macdonald's great multiple front scheme helped elevate this group to 3rd in points allowed last season. He's great at using play calls to pressure the quarterback and force mistakes that way. When you look at the film, teams were held to bad throws and crucial turnovers, and when they attempted to adapt in the short game, there was Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, and more great tacklers. His play calls are going to be a crucial step going forward for Baltimore's success. To summarize, the Ravens defense is going to be one to watch yet again. An elite secondary and great coaching will help Baltimore's talents be manipulated for success. Before I end every video, I go over the rating splits for offense, defense, special teams, coaching, and overall team. If you are interested in how my rating system works, it is in the description below. Beginning with offense, I have them ranked as a 78.63, which is 5th in the NFL, 3rd in the AFC, and 2nd in the AFC North. The defense is ranked at a 76.57, which is 3rd in the NFL, 3rd in the AFC, and 1st in the AFC North. The special teams came out at a 76.82, which is, surprise, surprise, 3rd in the NFL, also 3rd in the AFC, and 1st in the AFC North. And coaching came out at a perfect 10 out of 10, so 80 points for them, tied for 1st everywhere, including division and conference. As an overall team, Baltimore receives a 78.36, which is 1st in their division, 2nd in their conference, and 3rd in the NFL. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. There are 2 teams remaining, and you're missing out. Once again, I'm Chase Keller from Chase Keller Journalism, and thank you guys so much for choosing this channel as your source of sports coverage. I'll see you guys in the next video.